This is something I get asked all the time. If you go on forums and you look at people looking to get involved in real estate and people that are very, very mighty ambitious and they just hear about people raising all these billions of dollars for funds, and they're thinking, I can do that too, which is true. Then they realize without, sometimes you can be blissfully ignorant, other times you can just be moronically idiotic. And ignorance sometimes runs parallel to that. Now, but anyways, let me go for it anyway. So people are looking to ask, how do I raise money for a real estate deal? And here are three things that I would say you should do, or three things you should consider and that you should do. Number one, make sure that the project you're doing is something that you've done before. A lot of times investors want to see a track record. And if you don't have a track record of any kind, then you have a major problem. So make sure you have a track record, even if it's a matter of doing a number of small deals, just showing that you've had your own money in the game, that you've been able to deal with the stresses that come with having your own money at stake, coming out on the other side successfully, and then turning a profit. That says a lot about your character. That says a lot about your money management skills. That says a lot about your ability as an entrepreneur, and therefore it speaks to your ability to manage other people's money. If you're just coming out of left field saying, "Hey, I'd like to raise money for this project," you hear people all the time come with these ridiculous ideas. Lord knows I get that, especially from family. Let's What's some ridiculous shit I've heard? Let's invest in rocks. Okay, all right. Anyways, make sure that there's a track record there, and if you don't want to work up until the point where you've done mega deals yourself, like I said, start with some small ones. Pick up some land from the local municipality. Pick up some at auctions. Find a way to flip them. Take another approach to it. Get building rights. Go through the pre-construction process, getting an architect, an engineer involved, making sure that you can conceptualize the highest and best use of the land, and then exiting that particular project by selling this to somebody who then goes ahead and develops it. Just find a way to establish some sort of track record that shows that you're capable. And from there, if you don't have the track record for the type of project that you've done, you at least show a track record of uh, of capability, money management capability. You show that, and then you can go team up with somebody that has done it. If you have to give up some equity, so be it. But now you actually have a package that somebody would want to listen to. Once you've cleared that hurdle, number one, number two, make sure you know your numbers. This is quite obvious that you know your numbers, that you know what you're talking about, and this is a way that people will gain confidence in you. Number one, the thing is probably the most important thing, make sure that people like you. People are not going to do business with people they don't like. But once they like you, they want to have a logical reason to see. Human beings are funny. We make 90-95% of the decisions we make are emotional, and then we validate them or rationalize them with logic. So if they like you, that's an emotional decision, and then they're going to justify and rationalize it by saying, look, this young man is mighty enterprising. He knows his numbers and he can get this done. So make sure you know your numbers. Third thing I would say is have a nice visual presentation. Don't underestimate the importance of that, and make sure that there's a story you're telling in the material that you share with people. Now, in the real estate industry, there's a lot of people. The materials they put together are straight up filthy. And I'm talking from the highest of levels, the funds that have billions of dollars in capital under management, assets under management, and really what they are, they're lazy because they have all this money to throw around, so nobody has come in there and said, "Hey, this is filthy." And the material usually goes to other so-called accredited investors, sophisticated investors, institutional investors who are just as boring and archaic as they are, and they read all this crap that's very, very boring to understand, but it also excludes people who actually have capital who might want to invest with you, but they just don't understand it because it's too it's too confusing for them, quite frankly. So one thing I would say, make sure you have your packages in a nice, sleek, visually pleasing form, like a PDF, a presentation that looks very good, that has a story, that has a narrative, this presented in a easy to understand way. If somebody feels dumb from reading your stuff, they're not gonna say, "I'm an idiot." No, they're not gonna like you. But if somebody feels smart from reading your stuff, plus it's visually pleasant, you already put the odds in your favor of the most important thing, which is they have to like you. So that's one thing I would say. If you don't know how to do that, just hit me up. I can show you an example of what I have. I happen to think mine is the shit, and I think is one of the I say this with all humility. I really do, but I think it's one of the reasons that we've been able to get ahead a lot of times is because we can explain things in a maybe not now while I talk, but at least in the presentations in a very concise, clear way, easy to understand. But you feel intelligent when you read it, and that's one thing that you maybe that should be a point number 4, something like that. Always make sure you answer more questions than you raise. When somebody if you write something or you do something that raises a question, you should probably take it out. So make sure you answer the questions right before they come, right? Whenever you read, like when they read something and you go, wait a minute, but how much would it cost? Then it should be answered right after. Makes sense? So when you're raising money, again, let me summarize here. Number 1, make sure you have a track record. If you don't have much of a track record, go out and build one. If you're not resourceful enough to build one, get off my video. Okay? Actually, I'm less. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yes. Lazy. Number 2, make sure you know your numbers. Make sure you know what you're doing and you're being transparent. And another thing in terms of the numbers, always make sure you give yourself margin for error. Don't shoot for the highest. Like this is the best case scenario. No, go with the worst case scenario. Make sure there's a buffer around that. People will like that you're being conservative. People will like that you're being responsible. And shit happens. So when you come out on the other side, it's always better to surprise people with more money than say, oh, we didn't hit our target. People will be mad at you. And number 3, present it in a very nice, sleek way because it gives you a leg up on the competition that might become with more money. And again, most of the stuff you see out there, right? Go on LoopNet and download some of the offering memoranda, and you see them, they're filthy, they're absolute trash. Most of them, 90% of them are trash. Just make sure you have something that's sound, that's financially sound, legally sound, but it's absolutely spectacular. And considering all the other items, good team, track record, money management, honesty, transparency, present it in a nice way, and make sure they like you. That was more than 3 things, but I think you get what I'm saying here.